Okay, so the recording has started. So let me share my screen. So once again, welcome everybody. We are happy to really, you know, have you here today. So that shows that you actually, support the learning process and you really want to learn. So we'll just go straight to what we have for you guys today. So last week we just like stated out all the things we'll be talking about. We literally gave you guys the curriculum for the entire session, like what we'll be dealing on uh, throughout the training session. And the first thing we actually highlighted is the introduction to design. So that's where we would be starting today. So just for a recap, we said that design is not just like what we it's everything we see around ourselves. It's not just fancy things. So design is equally it's just everything around you, everything you use, everything you interact with as a human being. And you yourself too as a human, you're also designed by somebody too as well. So design is just everything. Everything you see, everything you interact with is design. And then when you talk about UI UX design, then you're trying to like niche down to a particular field of design, which we are going to talk about today, what it really is. So from your curriculum, this is the first topic of your curriculum, introduction to design, where we'll be able to discuss five things. Excuse me. So the first thing is, what is UX? The second one, what is UI? Third, similarities and differences between UX and UI. And then the fourth one, how UI and UX work together. And then the fifth one, what UI and UX designers do. So just give a thumbs up if I'm audible enough. Or I don't know. Can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. So this is what we are going to like discuss on today. So first, let's go straight to the first thing on the list. What UX is. We actually, discussed a little about it last week. So I want it to be sort of like an interactive section. So I don't know who still remembers what we said or who has an idea of what UX is and wants to share. The little thing you know about it, you don't have to like know everything about UX. So anybody can just tell us what UX is. So who still remembers like who still who has an idea on what UX is from last week? Anybody? So nobody wants to say something. Should I start calling names? Vincent, what do you remember? I don't know if you were with us last week. Do you have an idea about what it is? Like what apart from what the full terminology what the terminology means, like do you have an idea of what UX is? Okay, so let's just explain it. So UX, me admit. Okay, so UX is user experience. That is what it is. So the full meaning for UX is user experience, and it refers to like the overall experience a person has when interacting with a product, a system, or a service. So when you are interacting with a product, a product could be the example we used last week. A product could be your smartphone, a product could be your laptop, a product could be WhatsApp as an app. So when interacting with that product, that is the overall experience that you have. That is UX, like the experience you encounter. Was it nice? Was it um, terrible? So that is the experience that you have when interacting with each and every product. So let's say you bought a fridge and you are complaining about a particular design on, the structure of the fridge. So that is actually UX. It applies in all fields, literally all fields. As small as a pen or a book, you still, have the experience, the user experience. I know sometimes when you buy a notebook and you're not seeing the margin line, you start complaining that the book was not, the book is not nice and all that. So that is user experience. So it applies in all field, in all aspects of life. So the goal of UX design is to create products that provide meaningful and relevant experience to users, and that is basically it about UX. So if it is not meaningful, then it is useless. There's no two way about it. So the product you provide, the product you design as a, UX designer, has to be relevant. It has to solve a problem. So many people say UI UX designers, they just drag and drop. The tax is very easy. You just, open Figma and then start designing anything that comes your way. But that is not it. So it's way more than that. you know you're trying to solve a problem, and imagine you're trying to solve a problem of, like, let's say 20,000 users, and putting all their pain points into consideration, trying to solve a problem for the masses. You would agree with me that it's not really easy. So you have to put everybody into consideration, interview people, know about how they feel while using other apps, and how you can, solve that particular problem with your own app. So UX involves understanding users' need, users' behavior, and motivations to design products that are easy to use, efficient, and enjoyable. So that is the aim of UX designers. That is what they aim, to achieve at the end of it, every design they make. So they want to ensure that users enjoy the products that they make for them. So we can rightly say that UX designers are selfless. They actually don't focus on themselves when making an app. So they don't focus on how beautiful or, how easy the app is for them. Rather, they focus on how good and easy the app is for their customers or the target audience that they are creating this app for. So as a UX designer, you in as much as you want something to look good, you don't put yourself before the users. The users come first. So that is what UX is. So the next is UI. What really is UI? So UI, on the other hand, is user interface. So just as the name implies, the interface, what you see, what you actually interact with. So it refers to the point of interaction between the user and the digital device or the application. So we use an example. We actually took an example of, like, WhatsApp. So when interacting with WhatsApp, what's your overall experience? How do you click a button? How does the button react? Does the button bounce? Does the button change color? How does the text look? How does the overall, page look? So it encompasses the visual elements and interactive feature that allows users to engage with the product. So it helps you, to actually engage with the product. It makes you want to take an action. It tells you that, oh, you have to take an action. This is the action button. This is where you can post your status. So it makes some things pop up, makes you see, hidden elements. It highlights some hidden structures or elements on the products that you are using. So it can be seen in buttons. UX can be, seen in icons, menu, and other graphical elements on your mobile app. So UI, it's totally different from UX, but they actually work together, and be able to, like, see how, we use them together as UI UX designers. So just for a summary, UI just refers to buttons, what you interact with, the colors, the icons, the menu, the things that appeal to you, the things that make it look nice and good to you. That is what UI is. So we'll be able to, see these things practically when we go deep into, start when we start designing, when we start interacting with these colors, and when we start, making buttons and all that, we'll see how both UI and UX work together. So now let's talk about the similarities between UX and UI. So the first thing is user centric. Both prioritize the user's need and preference. So that is the first way that UI and UX is similar. They both put the user's need first, just like we said earlier. So how does that happen? So as a UX designer, you want the user to, go through the app seamlessly without any roadblock. You don't want the users to leave the app without achieving what they came to the app to do. Most times when you open your WhatsApp, and it might not really be the fault of the WhatsApp itself, it might be your phone. So maybe the WhatsApp just stops working. So the first thing you do is to minimize and delete the current tab that is open, and then open WhatsApp again. And if you try that one, two times, it doesn't still work, you might just conclude that WhatsApp is not working for that day, and then move to other, maybe TikTok and all that. So you've lost a user. So if WhatsApp never had like a really broad customer base, that is how like little companies without a structure on the app, like a proper structure, a proper UX and UI, that is how they lose their customers. So if you download a new app, you open the app, and then what you're seeing is not appealing. What you saw on Play Store, the display images on Play Store is not what you're seeing when you download the app. Then you just log off. So both UI and UX, they prioritize the user's need and preference. So they also enhance satisfaction. They aim to make the user's interaction seamless and enjoyable. We've said this too. So they want users to enjoy the process of using the application. So the UX has a part to play, and the UI also has a part to play. So the UX, like we said earlier, ensures that the user enjoys the process. The user is satisfied with the journey. Like you want to order a food on food delivery app. Now the aim is to order a food item. That is your goal. So does the app, you know, allow you to order seamlessly? Were you able to successfully order a food item from a particular app, let's say Chowdeck, without a roadblock, without having to meet a screen where you just get confused and then you ask yourself, what is the next action I'm supposed to take? I know most of us we use Jumia a lot. So when you log on to Jumia, what's the first thing you do? You search for a product. Now, when you click on the search button, does it pop up, the keyboard on your mobile phone for you to type what you want to search for? If it doesn't, then notice how you feel when it doesn't actually actually respond to what you want it to do. That is actually the pain point of users, and that is what UI UX designers try to solve. So from now on, you can notice how you interact with your mobile applications when you download a new game, when you download a new application, and then when you try to click a particular button and it's not working. See the frustration that you experience. See how you just continue to click it expecting it to work. That is actually a bad user experience. And that is why UI UX designers are there to solve that problem. They want the user to, the user in this case is like a king and we are the slaves. So let's just put it that way. So we are trying as much as possible to make our king enjoy his reign. So you want to do everything possible to make his journey successful. If you want to order a food item, just make it successful. Everything he wants to click, make it work. So the third similarity is the design process. So both of them are involved in all design stage from research to testing. So the UX, you involve it from your research to your testing stage. How does that happen? Now you want to put the users first. You want to ask yourself what does the user want to experience on this app? And then when you're testing it, does it actually meet what the user is supposed to expect? And then for the UI, you ask yourself, is it too bright? Is the button too bright for the user to look at? Is it too dark? Are the colors matching? Is the gradient okay? Is the font size good? Is the typography, is it very good? Should I change it? So that is how both of them work in the design process, and both of them too is iterative. You can go back and forth. They run in circles. So when you actually notice that a particular journey was skipped or a particular satisfaction is not met, then you can go back to prototype, test, and refine it again. Go back to prototype, test, and refine it again. So you're testing it before you're actually putting this product out. So before an app is developed, let's say WhatsApp, there was a lot of testing done by their testing crews, and they were like, does it actually work? Does this button work? You know. So if it doesn't work, they're not pushing it for us to see. So it was after a lot of testing that each of the feature that is released on WhatsApp is being deployed, and we can see it. So you have to like prototype it. Prototyping just helps you to test. Prototyping and testing works together. So prototyping is just like building part of the product. You design like 5 screens, you prototype these 5 screens, and it works. It's going to work as if the app is already set to be used. So that purpose is for you to be able to test it and see if when you click on this button, is that the screen that comes next is actually looking good, or the journey is really nice, or it's too long, or it's too short, will users enjoy it? Then you have to go back and refine it if you actually you actually sense a roadblock that the users would face. So now let's go to the differences. The differences between UI and UX. So the first one here is the UI. So the UI concentrates on the visual and interactive elements of a product. That is what we've mentioned before. The example is like the buttons, the icons, and the color scheme. That is what the UI focuses on. Just what you see, what is appealing, the artistics, what color is used, what icon is used, how is the button. That is what the UI concentrates on. Then for the UX encompasses the overall experience and usability of the product. Like it goes way beyond the design in this case. So we can rightly say that your design can be really nice. Like WhatsApp can be really nice, but then it has a poor UX. So even if it looks really good and the UX, nobody is going to use your product. No matter how good your product looks, nobody will use it. So it's just like, somebody that um, looks really nice. He's dressing really, really good, and then he has body odor. Nobody is going to come close to you now because of your body odor. So you have to be good on both ends. You have to be good with the looks and with the experience. Sorry, and that is what UI and UX is. So UX is the experience. When they come close to you, do they, do you smell nice? And when they look at you, do you look nice? So if you smell now nice and you look nice, then people come close to you and interact with you. And that is how all our application work. When it looks nice and the experience is nice, people use the product. Now, when it does not look nice and the experience is nice, some people may use the product because we have some products that does not look nice, like look really, really nice, but it's working. The experience is really good. People can still use the product. But when it does not work well, when the experience is really bad and it looks nice, nobody would use your product. So let's say when you're ordering a food item and the order now button, the last button, let's say proceed to payment button is not working, like the last step where you have to pay in, then get your item to your doorstep. The last button is not working. Nobody's using your product. And even when other people download the app, their friends might just tell them, that app is not working. Don't even bother yourself. So it just kills the users. Normally, it has to look nice and it has to have a good experience. So it works together. So this is one of the differences. Let's check the next one. So the next one for the UI aims to create an artistically pleasing and intuitive interface. So still, going around what we've talked about. So the interface has to be pleasing. The look and feel. In short, when you look at it at the first, when they say love at first sight, when you just look at it, look at the app you just downloaded, you need to just fall in love with it. And that is how the UI works. And then for the UX, it aims to provide a seamless, efficient, and enjoyable experience for the user. So it's still like almost what we've like the same thing we've been talking about, but we just want you to, be able to differentiate what UI is and what UX is. So we have designers that are UI designers. So what they focus on mainly is how to make good design, do good buttons, good text, and all that. Then we have UX designers that maybe focuses on research, focuses on interview. Those ones they don't even interact with Figma. They don't even hold their mouse to say, okay, I'm designing. What they do is just like interview some group of people, try to know their pain points, then move that data to the UI designers. It has to be moved to the UI designers. UI designers does not, have anything to work on if they don't have this research, if they don't know a problem that they're trying to solve. So that is why it works together. But they are totally different. One is about the how the elements look, while the other one is how you feel while using it. So this is the third difference. So the UI deals with specific design elements and the arrangement on the screen. So if you notice, most times the other button on your app, or let me just use another example. If you want to make a post on WhatsApp, so if you're currently with your phone now, then you go to the the WhatsApp app, you're able to see that the the icon for you to be able to post, it's actually at the bottom of your screen. So if you click on the tab, I don't know if depending on the device you're using, if you click on the tab or updates, you'd see that you have like a page for you to update your status. And nobody tells you that you have to click on the icon that looks like an edit icon for you to like make a post on your status. So that is like this arrangement of elements is the UI. Then for the UX, it covers the entire process of acquiring and integrating a product, including aspects of branding, design, usability, and function. So basically, it's, are you able to use your product? How does your product function? So that is what UX is, and this is how both UI and UX is different. So the next thing we want to look at is how UI and UX work together. We've seen how both of them are different. Now I want to see how they work together. So before we proceed, I don't know if anybody has a question to ask. You can just use your the raise hand feature on your the Google Meet. But if you don't have any question, you just use the thumbs up feature. So I know you guys are following. So I'm assuming that it's just okay. Somebody else is using the thumbs up. So just two persons. So what about the rest persons? Are you guys following? Vincent, three persons now. Okay, okay, cool. So now let's see how they work together. We've seen the differences. Now let's see how they work together for us to be able to achieve good experience. Excuse me. So first, under collaboration, let's see how they work together under that particular, title collaboration. How does UI and UX ensure collaboration? So UX designs the overall user journey and flow, while UI focuses on creating the visuals and interactive elements based on UX blueprint. So um, this now is how they work hand in hand, so to say. So one cannot go without the other. But actually, UX can stand alone, but UI cannot stand alone. So you can be a UX designer without design, without making buttons, making things click, making things pop, and all that. So UX can actually stand alone, but UI cannot stand alone. So you have to bring them together. So the second is alignment. UI implements the visual aspects that support UX goal, ensuring that the design is both artistically pleasing and functional. So UI is possible. Is somebody saying something? Okay, so UI is possible because of UX, like we just said earlier. So UI just helps us to achieve what we've just, the research we've just made uh, from our UX, from the experience of the user, what we've just, discovered about the user. Okay, this user likes blue. These users like black. These users like pink. You know, so these users like interactions. They like things that just move around on the screen. Now, an example is you designing an app for students. So if you're designing a student app, the UX designer goes out to look for what color matches with that niche students. And most times they use blue because blue has like a meaning relating to study, growth, and all that. Now, if you're designing for an app for girls, let's say those are your target audience. Most times users would use pink, and then the UX researcher would go straight to the UI designer and then tell the UI designer that okay, our users are just girls and the color they like, most of them say they like pink. So when designing on your mobile app, when designing this particular product, make use of pink as your color, your primary color, because they like pink. So now when you actually launch that particular product, you see that those users that you interview, those users that you're actually making that product for, would be able to interact with the product even better because you included what they like, what they love seeing, pink colors everywhere. So they would be free to use your product. They'll be happy using your product. They'll be satisfied because that's their color. So it happens in other aspects too. That's why when you open WhatsApp, I mean, we're always using WhatsApp because I know most of us has like we are actually interacting on WhatsApp like before we are able to log on to the call. So WhatsApp has a primary color, and what is the primary color of WhatsApp? You can just type it on the in call chat. Let me see if you guys are following. What's the primary color of WhatsApp? Yeah, the color is green. Thank you, Vincent. So it's not just green; it's green for a reason. And if you notice from the WhatsApp icon, yeah, thank you, Solomon. From the WhatsApp icon down to the buttons, down to the icons inside the app and other elements maintain that same color, green, you know. So that's their color. Now, you're always seeing yellow on our screen when we present because that's our color. Yellow and black is our primary and secondary color. So from today, you can notice other apps too. When you log on to Jumia, you see yellow for a reason. Not just because they like yellow, it's because their customer base like that color, yellow. And because that yellow speaks well of them, what they want to achieve. So anywhere you see colors on apps, try to understand that that is because of the target audience. That is because their target audience likes that, and that color has a meaning, and it speaks well of their brand. You know, so that is it. So the UI has to align with what the UX goals is, just like we said. So the next one here is consistency. So UX ensures the user experience is smooth and intuitive, while UI maintains visual consistency and clarity throughout the interface. So this is just saying the same thing. UX ensures that the user has a very smooth experience, and then the UI is what makes that experience possible. If the user said, "I don't like black," and then the UI designer is going to use black on the design, that is not going to be smooth. you know. So if the user logs onto the app and sees that, oh, the color that was used is the color that he does not like, it's going to go off the app. A lot of people are using WhatsApp today because WhatsApp has good experience, good flow, good smooth experience. A lot of people are using TikTok because it has smooth experience. A lot of people are using Snapchat and all that because they have smooth experience. So everything works well. When they want to click a button, it's working. You know, so they enjoy the process of using it. Um, I don't know if it was this year or maybe last year when there was like downtime with WhatsApp. Nobody was able to like log on to WhatsApp. Everything was just down. See how frustrated users were. Everybody had to like move to Twitter, and everybody was complaining. You know, so it happens to for network providers. So sometimes we don't have like we're in Nigeria. Most times our weather works with our network. So if there's rain, there's no network, and if there's network, there's no rain. So most times when there's rain and you don't have like the network to browse, that's a pain point. And that is why I don't know, I'm not trying to favor any network, but Glow is a victim. I mean, if you want to know if there will be rain today, just check your data this thing on Glow. If your Glow network is not showing at all, just know it will rain. And that's why most people just use MTN, you know so MTN was able to like see their customer base and try to know what the users want. Can we provide them with stable network when there is rain and when there is no rain? And so if that is possible, then you would have customers rushing on your app, rushing on your product, wanting to use it. A lot of people want to leave some products that they use because of the experience that they encounter. Are you using a particular bank? Why using the bank? Because you don't like the other bank. What's the problem? They just continue to charge you for what you don't use. Say maintenance. They keep taking your money, and because you don't want that experience, that's a bad experience. You leave the bank and then open another bank and start using it. So that is user experience. It happens in all fields, in all aspects of life. You know. So most times too, it happens when you interact with your door. Like there was a material I sent. I don't know if you guys went through it. So just try to notice what happens when you're trying to open a door, maybe at a new environment. You just got to the area, and then you're trying to go into the house. Now, if you try to open the door and the door is not opening, like the first move, the first step, you take to open the door and the door did not open, then that's a bad experience. Because most times you try to open the door inside, most doors go inside when opening it. Just try to notice it. If you're going into a room or an apartment, the door is supposed to open inward, not outward. If you're going inside the house, so from today, just notice on doors. If you're going into a particular apartment and you're outside, like you're just outside, if you want to go in, you must open the door and the door moves in, not out. So if you go to a particular store, maybe somebody's house, your friend's house, and then you try to open the door inside, and the door is like actually coming out, like the door is moving out, not in. That's a bad UX. That's a bad user experience. So I don't know if you guys are following. Just give a thumbs up if you can still hear me because it's really raining heavily. Okay, that's cool. All right. So the next one here is feedback. So UX gathers user feedback to improve the overall experience, and UI adjusts design element based on this feedback to enhance usability. So like we're talking about how they work together. So UX is the one that is the field that gathers this feedback. So WhatsApp keeps updating. If you notice, WhatsApp was not like this years ago. They keep updating. They keep putting new things. Before now we had just groups, but now we have community because WhatsApp knew that okay, um, there is need for us to have community because a lot of people wants to open multiple groups and still keep it together. instead of scattering the groups. And that is why they have community. Before now, some apps never had um like yesterday somebody just told me that was it Twitter, you can make calls on Twitter right now. I don't know if that's correct, but before now nobody makes call on Twitter, right? The community manager, am I right? I don't want to say what I'm not sure of. But then them having to add that feature is because a lot of people run to other apps to make call, and they want to retain their customers. You can easily make call on Twitter without going to WhatsApp to say, okay, let's talk or something like that. You know. So after gathering feedback, you go back to your app and say, okay, this is our app now. Users are complaining. They are saying that the experience is not smooth. What should we do for these users to enjoy the experience? If you don't keep updating your app, you keep losing customers because other apps are there as competitors. Like as we have Jumia, we have Gigi. As we have WhatsApp, we have Facebook. We have competitors on every particular product you can think of. Even on fridge, like you have your fridge, you have a particular fridge, and you have another one, two different brand on your television, your laptop, you have HP, you have Dell. Why? Because they are trying to beat their competitor. So HP might add a feature. Okay, now you can use the fingerprint feature on your laptop. Now Dell sees that, and then they decide to add it soon. Now let's go back to our smartphones. Before now, like years ago, we never had fingerprint. But then one brand came up and said, okay, fingerprint is easy without you putting your pattern. You just put your finger and 2 seconds, your phone is on, your phone is open. The other brands decided to use it because they see that a lot of customers wanted that on their product. So they started buying phone with fingerprints. Now earlier, young young guys would say, your phone doesn't have fingerprint, you never start now, or something like that. Everybody wants a phone with fingerprints now. And that was their selling point at that time. And that is why all the mobile phones, all the brands had to like upgrade their products to have that as a future. You know, so a phone is coming with one camera. Young people would say, your phone get only one camera. My own has five. My own has four. Now, if you notice, some of these companies are taking it as if it's war now. Some cameras are looking like a gas cooker. It's very big on, very big at the back of their phone. So that is for customers. They know that their customers want that, and a lot of people are using those smartphones because that is what they like. There are some phones you would hold now. You're using the phone. A lot of people do not even know if it's an iPhone or an Android because of the way they are setting the cameras at the back, and that is their selling point. So that is actually UI and UX. So it goes way beyond you designing apps, you building, website and all that. It's actually, I'm trying to use more examples because it happens in all fields, both on your cars too. It happens. Before now, you have to like manually wind your glass down on your car, but now you do it automatically. You know, you have to put your key in and start. Now you have like the thumb start, just push to start. All those things are like upgrade on the UX, the UI. You had like a car operating on fuel. Because of the fuel price, customers were complaining. Okay, what do we do? The UX designers now, the UX researchers, they came together and say, okay, if we don't want to use fuel, what do we use? We use the solar power, and that is why most cars come with battery. You can charge, you can use the sun to charge your cars. That is actually UI and UX rather, not the UI. That is actually UX. You solving users' problems. You actually making research on, solving users' problems. So it happens in all fields. So let's go to the next slide. Now let's talk about what UI and UX designers do. Excuse me. So UI UX designers craft the look and feel of digital products, focusing on both visual design and user experience. They design user interfaces to be visually appealing and intuitive. They also ensure the overall experience is smooth, efficient, and enjoyable for users. So this is just like a summary of what we've been talking about. So putting it together, most people take it alone. Some people, if you notice, some people call themselves UI designers. Can you guys see my screen? Vincent said he can't. Can you guys see? Just with the thumbs up. Okay, Vincent, you have to like rejoin. I guess it's your network. That's what I was saying. You know, MTN. I don't know your network, Sha. Let me not go and blame innocent MTN. But I'm sure rain is falling at your end, so your network is. But that's poor UX. So just rejoin, please. So UI UX designers, they if you call yourself a UI UX designer, that means you're doing both both tasks. You're making research of what users want and you're solving the problem yourself. You know, so that is what the UI UX designers, who UI UX designers are. So they figure out the problem and solve it. So the designs you see out there, when you see UI UX designers, they are not just designing, like we said, they are not just putting frames, putting icons, pictures. They are solving problems. There's a reason for every element that is used on your design. There's a reason for an icon. There's a reason for a text. And we said a little about this last week when we said that still using WhatsApp on your WhatsApp app now. You know, below your the icons. Let me just see if I can quickly log into my WhatsApp. So I use a proper example. So if you're using your Android phone, the first icon you see is chat. Now, if possible, if you're using your phone to join the call, you can just like minimize and go to your go straight to your WhatsApp, so you see what I'm saying. So the first icon there is chat, and for those who do not understand that that icon that is looking like a square or something is chat, they have to like write it below chats. So we talked about inclusivity. It's for everybody. It's now helping those who do not know how to read an icon, because some people can actually read an icon. Like the search icon is like an icon everybody reads. So if you log on to your browser, then you see a search icon, you're able to know that this is search icon without you seeing search underneath it. But for WhatsApp to include everybody, both people who do not understand, the elderly people who do not understand icons, the young people who might not understand icons, they have to like write below the icon. They have to like write chats. Now, for those who do not, for us to be able to know that we are currently on the chat page, if you're still looking at your WhatsApp screen, for us to know that we are currently on the chat page, if you notice, there is a blue, like cylindrical, this thing below. How would I say? There's a color uh, covering that particular icon. I don't know if you can see, just with the thumbs up, please. If you log onto your WhatsApp, so when you're on the chat here, so that is for us to understand or to know that okay, we are currently on the chat page. Now, just imagine that that particular shade of frame is not there. There is no cylindrical stuff like that, elements like that. We are get the users, all of us will get confused. You know, we'll not be able to know what page we are currently at. So there's a purpose for that. Now, if you notice too, I'm sure you have some unread chats. WhatsApp just makes it easy for you. WhatsApp is writing the number for my on my own screen here. Yeah, I can see 26. So I have 26 unread chats. So without me going, through my phone to see if I have a chat, WhatsApp just tells me I have like some unread chats that I have to like handle also. So if you also can remember, before now we have like this GB WhatsApp, JT WhatsApp, and all the those kind of WhatsApp. Before now, those WhatsApp helps us to see those users. If you were using it before, it helps you to see users online. Now the problem that particular you know WhatsApp solved, but it was not legal anyway. But they solved the problem, and that is why a lot of users actually had to use GB WhatsApp, because you can use it to spy. You can view people's status without them knowing. That's what most people like. You know, you can I've forgotten some of the features, but you can see some people who are online and some other features too. So they actually solve the problem. They actually solve the problem on our current WhatsApp, on the normal WhatsApp. And a lot of users love that problem and they had traction. They had a lot of customers. So that's the same for other apps as well. So it happens. So The overall experience is carried out or done by the UX designer. The look and feel is the UI designer. Putting them together, one person just does the whole task of, making research, knowing what the customers want, and then solving that problem with good and artistic screens and buttons and all that. So this is like what a UI UX designer is. This is what they do. So do we have any question up to this point? I don't know if anybody wants to ask a question, or are we clear? Can we move on? Excuse me. Okay. So just one person. Are we okay? Do we have questions? Okay. So you can use the in-call chat, please. If you can't say something. Okay, you can type your question, Jamie. So somebody said, what is the difference between a web developer and a UI designer? I'll take it as a UI UX designer. So a web developer, when you develop, let's just take the meaning from the name. When you bring something to life, and that's it. When you bring the design, the template. So UI UX designers just design the template. They just design the page on your WhatsApp. That page you're seeing, that chat page, that was just like a picture. So UI UX designer just does the picture. It doesn't work. From the UI UX designer's end, it doesn't work. It's just a picture. They do the picture, they prototype it. It appears as if it's working, but it's not working. So the web developer brings that to life. The developer is able to build that design, work on it, then upload it to Play Store or App Store. You go on App Store, you download it, you interact with the product, and it's working. That's like the web developer's own task. It's totally different from the UI and UX designer. But somebody can still be a web developer and a UI UX designer, but it's actually two separate things. The web developer also solves problems too. They're also problem solvers. So, but the tasks they do is totally different. They code, they bring this design to life. So, I don't know if that answers your question, Solomon. If yes, you can just with a thumbs up. Okay, cool. Okay, let's take the next question from Solomon. With your explanation, it seems UI and UX is beyond beautifying an app. Example color exactly. It's way way beyond that. Like it's far, it's deep. So when you hear sometimes there's this banter between developers and designers. Designers say sorry, developers say designers are just like enjoying their tasks is simple. I'm not discouraging you guys. Like I'm not saying that you can't learn UI UX design or it's too difficult. If you enjoy the process, it's going to be very simple. But compared to development, developers are saying that, oh, designers will not even do anything, just sit down, put button, put text, make it beautiful, paint it, then send it to them, stressing them. But it's way beyond just colors, text, fonts. It's way beyond that. You're solving a problem. In short, the main thing is the UX. The main thing is the research you do before going to Figma to design anything. The main thing is the problem you're trying to solve. Will it solve this problem? Will this solution work? Will users like it? Let's take for example, a lot of people are now WhatsApp vendors. So sometimes you might want to think, can you make that easy for them? Can you develop an app where WhatsApp vendors can just post their products and people easily see it? Now that's like if WhatsApp vendors see posting their products on WhatsApp as a problem. So the UX researcher would go down to think of, is this a problem? Are people really complaining? Or do they like WhatsApp? So the sometimes when you bring up an idea, it doesn't work all the time because now the UX researcher would have to like go and ask the WhatsApp vendors, do you think WhatsApp is better, or do you need a platform where you post your product like Gigi or Jumia, and then you sell your product? WhatsApp vendors might tell them, like out of 10, maybe 9 will tell them, no, I like WhatsApp because it's easy to save contacts. And when I get meet a new friend, maybe somewhere, and I save his contact, that person automatically becomes my customer because he's able to see my WhatsApp status. Now, if you go further to build that product, it will not work because they've already explained to you that they don't want a product outside WhatsApp. They like WhatsApp, they post on WhatsApp. In short, we have WhatsApp business. WhatsApp has already made it easy. You know, we have Facebook marketplace. So they don't want the app. So if you go further to design it, it won't work. That's why if you go on Play Store, you have a lot of apps that are not working because the problems that they saw, they never made proper research on it for them to like know if this is a problem. Because some things look like a problem, but it's not actually a problem. Some look like a problem, but other people are working to solve it. You know, so I think that's for Solomon. Then the next question, for example, the WhatsApp logo, is it designed by UI designer or graphics designer? Okay, yes. The WhatsApp logo is actually done by the graphics designer. So basically, we even have logo designers. So we have logo designers. They take care of logos, graphics, icons, illustrations, and all that. So they take care of it. So the UI designer or the UI UX designer, sometimes you might have the skill of as a logo, you can design logos with Figma. Some simple logos, like I've done some logos to check on my portfolio. So we have some logos, but we have like some logos that are actually complicated. So you have to use the tool for that. The good like Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, and for other stuffs, you use Adobe Photoshop. So UI UX designers are not logo designers. They don't work on logos. So if you search WhatsApp on LinkedIn, then you go to their like the people section. Right? So there's a tab called people or something. You're able to see their workers. You see that they have a UI designer, they have a UX designer, they have a UX researcher, they actually divided this field. They have a graphic designer, a logo designer, and all that. So they have all the designers. Normally, one person can do it, but they are sharing it, so you just have to specialize on that particular field and be good at it. But when you start your journey now, you would start learning all of them. Start learning all of them. When I mean all of them, the UI UX is actually broad, so we have subfields under it, but you can decide to do all of them and become a generalist, somebody that if they call for this, you're there. If they call for UX, you're there. If they call for UI, you're there. So it gives you more edge over people who just focus on UI. um I don't know if I answered your question, Jimmy. So are there other questions? Okay, so let's see some examples now. Now this is an example. So we've been talking. Let's see it and be able to like explain it now. So this is a picture, and this is the walkway. This guy was supposed to take this part and then curve to this part and then go home or maybe go to work or other places. But this is a very sweet experience. It's very easy for him to just cut it. The distance from here to this point, then to this particular part is longer than him just walking, from this part to this other walkway. So this is an example of user experience, you know. So this is a smooth experience. Everybody wants to take this part. And I'm sure we've all seen an example of this, maybe in our school or on our street. So they tell you to work on this pathway, but then you have to just take this very sweet path because it just cuts the journey, makes it more, easy. So this is an example of user experience. A lot of people are taking this place because the experience is so nice and it makes the journey shorter, you know. So if this was an app, what the designers now would do, since they see that users are taking this route, they would go back to their drawing board and say, okay, we have to like make a path here. We have to open this part, make a walkway that cuts makes journey a bit shorter for users, and then maybe leave this one for those who are driving, or those who are coming from these other directions. But we have to like make this a walkway too. So when that is done, a lot of users are taking this part now. A lot of them will take this part because that's the problem that was identified and it has been solved. So the next example is on a smartphone. So if somebody gives you his smartphone and then tells you to power it, what's the first part of the phone? Where do you go to first? You know, what do you see and know that okay, this is the power button? What do you see and know that this is the volume button? So if I give you my smartphone, you've not used that particular phone before, but I tell you to power the phone for me, the first thing you do is you'd go look at the side. You're not looking on the screen, but at the side, because a lot of mobile phones, that is where you power it from. So now, I've seen some smartphones that have their power button at the top. That's it can be classified as a bad UX because a lot of users like it to be at the side, especially at the right hand side. And now you're having it at the top, so the user has to bend his phone to be able to power it, which is a really really bad experience. And if he's not careful, the phone might slip and fall from his hand, you know, and he will not be willing to buy that phone anymore because it was really a bad experience. So if you want to reduce your volume, so that's the same thing. You go to the side and okay, this is the volume button. Why? Because it's either two at the side or it's longer. A single button, but it's longer. And now who tells you that this is the reduce and increase button? Because this is below and this is above. Now imagine an app that swaps the functionality. Now the button below becomes the increase button, and then the one above becomes the reduce button. That's a really really bad UX. Why? Because this one is coming down. This is the button that faces down, like the least one, the one below. So it should be something. The functionality should also come down to like reducing. The action should reduce. This one is at the top. The action should increase. So that's the functionality. And if it's not working that way, users tend to leave, stop using the app. You know. So the next example we have is the where you answer your call on your iOS device or maybe your Android device. Now this is really good because for users who do not know how to pick up their phone, there is a text here saying slide to answer, and they are giving you this section for you to like slide it to the right. So somebody who has not used an iOS before, if that person can read and write, and then he holds your phone and your phone is ringing and he wants to pick it, it's easy for him because the UX guys, they had to like make good research and try to understand what the users want, the category of users they want to target. Now, including elderly people who might not really understand how to use devices. Now they are having a text, they are slide to read. I'm sure they know what slide is, so they will just click on the green phone icon there and then slide it to the right, which is how the functionality works. So this is another example of a very good UX. Now, if this is not there, if this text is not there, it might be hard for some people to be able to know how to interact with this device. You know. So the next is the mobile data icon. How to turn on your mobile data. If I give you my smartphone to turn on the data, the first thing you do is to slide down to the notifications panel. because that is where everybody has their, uh, data icon for you to turn on your data. So few years ago, I saw a smartphone that you slide from bottom, not from the top, from bottom for you to see the data icon. That was really really bad because I wanted to turn on the smartphone, the data of the smartphone, but I was like sliding it from the top because I thought that was how it's going to work, since that is how it was working on other devices. But then in that particular device, it was not working. So UI researchers, UI designers do not deviate from an already existing rule or functionality. They don't. If this thing is working like this, improve it, don't change it. That is how it works. So if users know that if you press this button, it's going to turn off your device, still keep that functionality. But if you want to improve it, you can improve on it. Do not change it. So if you change it, it's a problem. Users are not interested anymore because it's something they are used to. So don't make it too difficult. Users, I would say, they are lazy. So make life easy for them. If it's something they want to click, let it work. If it's something they already know, still keep it there. Don't change it. You know. Then, that's basically it. That's the examples that we have. I think these examples, I don't know, are clear. I hope they are clear, and I hope they explain better what UI and UX is. And I hope the other examples I've used to help us to understand, that helped us understand, um, what UI UX designers do. They don't just sit and design. In short, that's the last step of the process. But in some countries, like the country we are all in, I don't want to mention the name because I don't know if some people are from other countries and they're joining us. So in some countries, you are not given the opportunity to express yourself as a UX designer in the field. You do it in Figma. When you're designing the app, that's when you say, okay, this button, will users like it? That's why we say they are similar. UI and UX, they are similar, they work together. But normally, you're supposed to be given the opportunity to interview people, to ask people, what do you like in this app? That's why most times when you log on to some apps, they tell you, well, what are your experience so far? Do you like the app? Rate us. So if you go onto your app store, you see that you have ratings on all the app because they want to improve. And you notice the customers come there and tell them your app is just so stupid. Your app is this, your app is that. It's not working. They'll go back to their drawing board and say, okay, the customers are complaining. Let's solve this problem. So that is how UI UX works. So it doesn't end. You always get updates. Notice from now till next year by this time, WhatsApp must have added a new update. They keep updating. You don't just leave what is existing because users change over time. So you just change with them to make it easy for them. So that's basically what UI UX is, and that is how it works. And that is I've also talked about what UI UX designers do. So I think we've covered the class for today, which is the introduction to design. We've talked about UX, user experience. We've seen what they do. We've seen that they care for like the overall experience of the app. We've seen UI. UI is totally different from UX, but they work together. UI is just the look and feel, the buttons, the text, the icon, the color. That is the UI. You've seen the similarities. You've seen that both of them are carried out together. Can't take one and leave the other one. Especially as a UI designer, you can't be a UI designer without implementing a lot of UX. We've seen that they work together. We've also seen that we've also seen what UI UX designers do. So we basically covered what we have for today. So thank you everybody for joining us. We really, really appreciate the fact that you even asked questions too as well, because that shows that you guys are following. And we still want you guys to ask too, because I don't know if you guys have doubts. Um, you can ask. Feel free to ask. We are ready to answer your question, and if we are all clear, then it's fine. So, do we still have any more question? You are allowed to speak, Solomon, if you want to. So feel free. Solomon, you're muted. Yeah, you can say something. Unmute and speak. Solomon, can you hear me? You're still muted. Though. Okay, so that's it. I think few minutes from now on the group, the community manager is going to post a link. Struggling to unmute. I'll do it myself. I think I can. Can I? I'll just stop presenting now and then stop recording.